Well, thanks a lot for doing that. Thanks to L&B, of course, for the fine meal. Another honoree. I think we have Jonathan is Ludwig, who's the principal here, is somewhere in the crowd somewhere. Oh, there he is. So thanks for coming. It's a thrill for me to be up here, and the a nice thing is that I know every inductee. That's the great thing. I knew Dr. Bob Beatty. I worked with him obviously for a long time at the hospital, and his middle name is Walker. We used to make a great deal of his name, Robert Walker Beatty. I don't know whether those of you didn't know that. I was probably one of the only people that could go around with Bob pretty well, and we had a pretty good time. Jen, I've known Jen forever, and her family forever. Anthony and Andrew are my students at Kent State. That's why they're successful today. Dave Kyle, I've known forever. Jerry Pillar, I went to school together. Jerry and I went to school together. We knew each other when we were little kids, and then when we got into high school. And of course, Dan Grafton, everybody knows Dan Grafton. And along, of course, Tom Chambers is my cousin, so therefore, obviously, a pretty good relationship there. I'm honored to be up here, I will tell you that, and I'm kind of humbled. And I'm not certain why they asked me to come up here to be the MC. My only claim to fame, I have several claims to fame. One is I'm Tom Chambers' first cousin, and he was really a great athlete. I didn't do anything to teach him anything. I taught him how to swim. I didn't teach him how to play football, baseball, basketball, or anything else that he excelled at, unfortunately. Candy Nicholson is like my third cousin, so that's probably about my only claim to fame. I went out for numerous sports over the years. I usually got cut. I went out for baseball. I was great in baseball. I played center field. They always put me in center field because I could run like the wind. I could catch anything. I'd play right center, left center, center. I couldn't hit anything. I could not hit any. I couldn't hit a ball. I just couldn't hit. So I wasn't really good at that. I was out for the golf team, and I played. I was out the years that I was in high school here at East Liverpool. Bobby Kelly and Harold Putt and Billy Pickin and all these. They were like 14 and shot par. I didn't make the golf team either. I did play Little League a couple times, but that was pretty good. Plus, not to be outdone, we had a crack intramural basketball team of which Jerry Stovall was a member. Jerry, Billy Cunningham, Pete Manning, and me, and I can't remember who else. Might have been Rob Ioane. I don't know who else was on the team, but we were really exceptional athletes. I did play football with the St. George Street Rams with Eddie Golden and Jerry and Mike Goodballett and a few of my friends from East End. I grew up originally in East End. I was also in the gymnastics club with Jerry Pillar, which was pretty exciting. We used to do, believe it or not, exhibitions for East Liverpool High School at the basketball games. And Steve Hanny-Otis, some of you may know Steve. He was unfortunately killed in Vietnam. Steve we would go to the MA and do these exhibitions, and he would do like these triple backflips, and it was like amazing what he could do. He could like hit the ceiling of the MA, which was really an amazing feat in my opinion anyway. I have been to a lot of Potter games over the years. I've seen all the Bells. I've seen Bernie Allen. I've seen Jim Potts. I saw Bob Makel, Jim Mazurka. I saw the Final Four in 1999. Clarence Crable went to school with me. Kenny Cunningham, Kenny Miller. Josh Ludwig. I saw Josh Ludwig and his team go out and stuff Boardman that time. I remember that. I'll never forget that. What a great game that was. So probably half to three-fourths of the people in the Hall of Fame I saw at one point in time or another. Of course, I saw a million basketball games with my friend Nick Alloy. So anyway, all I can say to you is, thank you for inviting me up, Steve, and everybody from the committee. And the committee's done, an exceptional job. It's amazing to put something like this on, and so I do appreciate the honor of being able to be the MC. So that being said, I don't think I have any other business to attend to. Do I have anything else to say? Oh yeah, I was going to do that. I got distracted. Anybody from the committee that helped put this dinner and do this whole program year after year after year after year. Would y'all please stand up and for a minute of recognition, because you guys did a lot of work. Great. Again, the food was excellent, and the cake particularly was good, in my opinion. So, all right. Without further ado, we will go ahead and start with the inductees. But prior to that, we do want to do one special acknowledgement and honor, and I'd like to have Dawn Heldman come up for a second and do that, if you would.
Well, thank you very much, Bob. My first part of my saying to you people was going to be the person I was going to introduce needs no introduction. Well, he doesn't, because he's not here. So we're going to do the best we can. We thought, as a group, that somebody that needed honored at the Hall of Fame banquet would be the person that was in charge of the banquet and in charge of the Hall of Fame for the past 35 years. In fact, he was the founder of the East Liverpool Hall of Fame. Done a great job all these years with Mr. Potter. As far as I'm concerned, he was the best Potter sports fan we probably ever had. And he's not here tonight. I don't know for sure why, but we thought anyway that we should still give him an award. And it said on his award, it says, East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame would like to congratulate you for your vision. And with the help of everyone and your guidance, the Hall of Fame breeds success in East Liverpool High School. I'd like to have Alonzo Spencer come up and receive this award for Richard Keith Wolf, Dick Wolf.
Thank you. On the behalf of Mr. Wolf, we accept this, the whole committee does. And
all right, we'll begin with our inductees. I will introduce the presenter. The first inductee is Dr. Robert Beatty, and the presenter will be his son, Dan. So, Dan, come take the mic.
On behalf of my father and my whole family and every ex-Potter, I want to say thank you for this tremendous award. Dick Wolf was given recognition for his hard work and his time in doing this. I'm a firm believer in it's not the name of the company, it's the people that walk through the doors. East Liverpool is not just a name, it's the people, it's the interconnections here with everyone. Bear with me, this is kind of an emotional moment to do this because it would have meant so much for my father. He loved East Liverpool. He was very proud to help the people of East Liverpool and be here for everyone. I've heard so many stories the last few weeks from people that have reached out to me, telling me things that he had done for them. We had no idea. They had no idea. And I'm going to make this very quick, but thank you. Thank everyone for being involved. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Okay, our second inductee is going to be Jennifer VanSickle from the class of 2015, and her sister is going to be her presenter, if you could. Oh, there you are. Come on up. Carrie.
Good evening. As early as I can remember, I wanted to be just like my sister. In my baby book, My mom wrote that I followed her around all day and I wanted to do everything that she did. As we grew up, that didn't change. Not only did I want to do what she was doing, I wanted to do it as good as she did it. Other than tap dancing, I didn't want to tap dance. We're only a year apart, so she was a sophomore when I came up to the high school. I remember teachers, students, coaches, even referees and officials on the court, they knew me as Jen VanSickle's little sister. It never bothered me. I was so proud of her, and I strived to be just like her. Actually, I thought being called Jen VanSickle's little sister was one of the greatest compliments I could have received. She was a good student, had a lot of friends. She was a hard worker. She was a force on the basketball court and the volleyball court. Her athletic accomplishments piled high over her 4 years at East Liverpool High School. During her volleyball career at East Liverpool, she was a 3-year starter and a letter winner. She was named to the All-County team and All-Area team. Her senior year, she was named District Player of the Year. She was a 4-year starter and letter winner in basketball. She was All-County and All-Area both her junior and senior years. She was an All-Ohio honorable mention her junior year and All-Ohio second team her senior year. She was also named District 5 Player of the Year both her junior and senior years. At graduation, she received the Merrill D. Hall Female Athlete Award. Her hard work, discipline, drive, and her love of the Potters are all things that she carries with her throughout her life. Her time competing here at East Liverpool helped mold her into the great person that she is today. She is a hardworking mom, a dedicated teacher, and an inspiring coach. Tonight, as always, I'm honored and proud to be Jen VanSickle's little sister. May I now introduce East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame, Class of 2015 inductee, my sister and my friend, Jennifer VanSickle Ludwig. Oh, okay. I almost cried a couple times. First, I'd like to congratulate the other inductees. It's an honor to be standing with such an amazing group of Potters. I would like to thank my extended family for attending and for all of your love and support. My Aunt Robin, my Uncle Bob, Dave, Carrie's husband, Grace, father-in-law and my mother-in-law, Lou and Robin, my brother-in-law, Josh, my sister-in-law, Mal, and Baby T, who's not here. Have to mention Baby T. I would also like to sincerely thank everyone in the selection committee for thinking of me for this wonderful recognition. It is certainly one of the most meaningful and personal honors I've ever received, and I'm proud and flattered to be standing in front of you this evening. This is such an incredible honor and privilege, and something I will always reflect on with great pride. Being a part of the East Liverpool High School volleyball and basketball program has had a significant influence on my life and has helped shape me into the person that I am today. I will always cherish the memories and the friends I made during these years and want to thank everyone who has supported me and guided me during such an impressionable time. I would like to thank all of my coaches that I have had. My dad, who was my very first basketball coach, Coach Cooey, Coach Steffen, Coach Carter, and Coach Shansky, all of whom have had an impact on my life and taught me lifelong lessons. Besides teaching me the fundamentals of the game and the skills necessary to obtain individual honors, they also taught me the meaning of hard work and dedication. These skills, along with the love and support of my family, have carried me through to my adult life. As a teacher and a coach, I am called on every day to use those life lessons that were an integral part of my sports career. And that's what sports are all about. I believe they help create a foundation of what type of person you will become later on in your life. I would like to thank my parents. I wouldn't be where I am today without their unconditional love and support and encouragement. I cannot recall a game, a tournament, where they were not in the stands cheering me on. They were definitely my biggest fans and sometimes my biggest critics. With 3 active kids who were very close in age, our schedules were crazy. I know we had a couple years where my brother was on one team,
My sister was on another team. She was in 8th grade. She was on a team, and then I was a freshman. So we were 3 different kids going 3 different directions. I don't remember ever hearing them complain. Sports became a big part of the VanSickle family. My mom worked tirelessly behind the scenes, washing load after load of powder blue laundry, setting up and working concession stands, running the shuttle van to and from practices and games, making posters, and the list goes on and on. My dad volunteered to coach, or I think my mom volunteered him, in 6th and 7th and 8th grade. Without these two supporting me and pushing me, I surely wouldn't be where I am today. I would also like to thank my sister, definitely one of my best friends, and the competition between the two, I think, only made us better at sports. I couldn't think of a better person to present this to me this evening. Carrie was inducted into the Hall of Fame 2 years ago? 2 years ago. Being only 17 months apart, we have shared so many important memories together. Sports, dances, friends, college. We both worked at Bob Evans together. Shoes, clothes, and now we get to share raising our children together, which I'm happy to say I get to bring my nephew with me to school every day to be a Potter. Last but not least, I would like to thank my husband, Jonathan, who has encouraged me to become a better person and always pursue my dreams. I remain as competitive now as I was when I played, maybe more now. Sports taught me important lessons such as practicing like you've never won and performing like you never want to lose. Now I am fortunate to get to experience sports as a mother and a coach. Emma and Mason are both Potters now, and there's no place else I'd rather see them compete and learn. I have the privilege of coaching Emma, who is a freshman this year, and sharing my love for sports with her and the team. I get to enjoy watching Mason, who is a 6th grader, participate in basketball and Little Potter basketball every day. My husband and I get to drive up this hill to go to a job that we love. Most of the time, we love it. We get to drive up here to work, and there's no place we'd rather be. And now we have our own load of Potter Blue laundry. Go Potters.
Be Jerry Pillar, who's represented by his brother Ronnie. And the presenter will be Jerry's sister and brother-in-law, Marilyn and Conrad Fry. So if Marilyn and Conrad could come up and introduce your brother.
On behalf of the Pillar family, we are so proud of all of my brother's accomplishments. And I give this to my brother, Ron. Okay?
Our sister Marilyn and her husband Conrad Fry, brothers Jim, and myself would like to thank the East Liverpool Hall of Fame Committee for inducting our brother Jerry to the Hall of Fame. And excuse me. He would have been very proud to have been inducted. I am sure that he would have loved to have been here, but Jerry passed away 33 years ago in an automobile accident in 1983. And so from all of us, thank you, and go Potters.
Okay, our next inductee from 2016 is Tom Chambers, and Mr. Bob Duffy will introduce Tom.
Okay, I can certainly remember being here in 1982 for the first Hall of Fame induction. There's one other gentleman here tonight that was here, and he's still on the committee, Mr. Alonzo Spencer. But well, good evening, and to tonight's honorees, members of the East Liverpool Hall of Fame Committee and sports fans. I was asked and was enthused to accept this privilege of introducing Tom Chambers from the class of 1969 for his induction into the East Liverpool High School Hall of Fame. Tom could not attend tonight's fabulous affair due to a previous business commitment made far in advance of tonight's banquet. He will be remembered as one of the most versatile and successful athletes to perform for the Potters. Tom was a standout center fielder on the 1969 baseball team that finished as runner-up in the state, losing to Columbus East 2-1 in the championship game. He also lettered in basketball for the Potters. An all-round athlete, his greatest achievements came in football. And the only way to describe those achievements is by using the old phrase, he did night but sell tickets at the gate. On offense, he was one of the team's leading rushers. From his running back position, where he also was a sure-handed receiver, returned punts and kickoffs, and was the team's punter. On defense, he played linebacker and safety. Injured in the 8th game of his senior year, the Potter coaching staff agreed it was like not losing one, but 6 players. Due to his versatility and all of his contributions, he was named the most valuable player of the 1968 team. That team finished with an impressive 8-2 record. The previous year, as a junior, he played on a team that finished with 9-1 and was ranked 9th in the state of Ohio. One of his teammates on the 68 team, was Lou Valino, who I know is in the audience here tonight. Lou recalled a crucial game-saving play Chambers made against Archbishop Carroll, an outstanding team from the Washington, D.C. area. Archbishop's, with the Potters leading 14-7 very late in the game, Archbishop Carroll scored and then attempted a 2-point conversion. But Chambers had other ideas. He stood the opposing runner up at the goal line until help came from all Ohio Stanley Ice, and the Potters prevailed 14-13. Following his successful career as a Potter, Tom was recruited by a number of Division I schools. Also an outstanding student, Tom decided to attend Duke University at Durham, North Carolina on a full athletic scholarship. At Duke, he was a regular for 3 years as a starter, and went on to earn degrees from Duke, Syracuse, and Southern Methodist University. Tonight, Tom Chambers becomes an outstanding addition to the East Liverpool High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Pinch hitting for Tom is his cousin and tonight's MC. I give you Dr. Robert Walker, who will accept on Tom's behalf.
When I asked Tom, I said he was going to be inducted, and I asked him who would like to present the award after he found that he could not be here. He's actually in Italy right now. And he said, Bob Duffy. He said, I had nobody but Bob. So thank Thanks for doing that, Bob. He really appreciates it, as do I. So Tom sent me he wrote this up for me because he wanted to be here very much, and he said, it's with great pleasure that I have the honor of becoming an inductee into the East Liverpool High School Hall of Fame. He wanted to thank the committee for selecting him and apologized for his absence tonight. I also promised that I would not do anything to embarrass him. And he also wants to send his greetings from his wife, Roseanne. He's now with Pioneer Natural Resources, which is oil. He's a geologist still. He said when he first was told that he was considered for the Hall of Fame, he thought of two groups of people. His parents and his siblings rose to the top. My parents and I made a contract that I could play all the sports I wanted upon one conditioning that was uncompromising. I had to get all A's in school or wait until the next report card to show improvement. All A's was a bit much in my mind. It was one thing to compete on the field, but quite another to match wits with Vicky Durr, Tom Gooding, and all the brains at East Liverpool High School. So I did negotiate a compromise, and I was allowed a few B's, but absolutely no C's. I thank my brother Jeff, my sister Susie, and my sister Lisa for permitting me to eat all the food off the table every meal, which is true. The other is East Liverpool community. You provided an environment in which kids playing pickup or organized sports were encouraged and fully supported. Fans filled the seats at the games and local businesses. Burbick's Hardware, Potter's Bank, Woodbine Laundry, the Elks, the Medics, the Merchants, with our grandfather Willard Chambers of Chambers Company, supported the baseball teams, football teams, etc. My aunt and uncle, my parents, never missed a game which I played. We could run to the East End or the West End or out St. Clair to Calcutta or to Wellsville, playing at this or that sport, and our parents never had to worry about where little Tom or Jimmy Mazurka or Dawn or Chuck or Bubba or Johnny would be. Yes, East Liverpool is a great place to develop my skills. Did any one person impact me the most? A good question that actually didn't require as much thought or angst as I imagined. Not really. I learned lessons from a whole host of people. Don Rogers from Westgate taught me that nice guys can finish at the top. He was just a nice guy for a junior high kid to be around. Digger Dawson, everybody knows him. Couldn't have been a better role model. He's a generous and caring person. He certainly helped straighten out a few broken fingers and sprained body parts. Dean and Tom Densmore were classic baseball coaches who taught the importance of fundamentals and game strategy. It reminds me of the time when I was hit by a pitch and didn't think I would be able to see it again. Scared stiff of the pitching, I learned to stick with it and overcome my fears of any pitch thrown toward me. Jim Potts lived around the corner, and when I overslept, I could catch a ride to school. He exuded confidence as one great athlete himself. He taught me to find my own style of confidence and never let any event get you down before a very short learning period. I couldn't have been happier being in the pressure situation as having a fly ball hit to me in center field and making a tough catch. Jim Quinn, the assistant basketball coach, was intense, all the time intense. You might be having an off night shooting and keep your intensity, you probably would still come out on top. Never, ever, ever give up. Never, ever, ever give in. We won lots of basketball games that way. Frank Moss, Coach McConnell, taught me proper body mechanics and how to be a winner. Footwork, 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 footwork. Believe me, I used those lessons every day while playing college ball. I was not a deep, speedy receiver threat, but I was quick and used good footwork to run precise passing routes and catch any pass thrown my way. My Duke coach said I had the best hands in the ACC, although he never complimented me on my speed in the 60-yard dash. McNay, he's the one who picked Duke. He said I had to go to a good academic institution that would not send me to any school that wasn't. He favored Dartmouth, Duke, Brown, and Baldwin-Wallace. All said I could play all sports besides football. McNay was famous for his film sessions. You made a mistake on the field, he would expect you to correct it during the film session. He would replay it over and over, and you couldn't change the film, but you did learn not to do it again. Anyone could make a bad play, but don't do it twice. Everyone needed a game plan to fully understand. Upon reaching Duke, I may not have been an All-American, because we had 18 freshman All-Americans in 1969. But I understood the game of football better than most of those freshmen. McNay ran a college-style program at East Liverpool and made my transition to college so much easier. I could go on and on and on. I was lucky to have great athletes around me. Johnny Johnson, Jerry Christian, Donnie Cochran, Rick Schock, Dennis Brennan, Stanley Ice, Jack Melvin, Danny Cunningham, Jimmy Mazurka, Bubba Cranston, Steve Douglas, Steve Flanagan, Tom Gooding, Mike Giambroni, Stan Natalini, Keith Burke, Rick Eccles, Louis Volino, John Haney, Rick Steffen, Jim Moore, Bill Montgomery, Kim Kemple, Jerry Christian, and Al Talkington, and Stevie Williams. And the list goes on and on. Thanks so much to Bob Duffy, and thanks so much to the committee for my induction to the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Our next inductee is Anthony Duffield and Coach Thornberry is correct. Going to be your presenter. Okay, so Coach Thornberry.
I've talked at a lot of banquets and at this banquet several times, and I've never ever written out a speech until today, so I don't forget anything. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees on their induction into the East Liverpool Hall of Fame. It is a great honor, and congratulations to all of you. And as Dr. Walker said earlier, I have a few connections with some of the inductees tonight also. Not only I coached Anthony, Dr. Beatty was the only doctor I had in my adult life, and I still miss him every day. I watched Andrew Bobalik grow up from a little guy to the great man he is now. And probably the reason I decided to run track and cross country was because when I played basketball, Dave Cow used to beat me up on the basketball court about every day. I was assigned the task of guarding him or Wayne Talbot. And those of you that remember, those are two pretty rough and tumble guys, so I went to a less vicious sport. But yeah, Anthony Duffield. I'm pleased to say Anthony is the 16th member of the Hall of Fame that I had the pleasure to coach in high school in track and cross country. And that just shows you that there's still talent in this town. And what a great high school career he had. Not only was he a good athlete, a great athlete, he was a very popular kid, nice kid. I never heard anybody say anything bad about him. Like I said, I was fortunate to be his coach in cross country and track. His history started for me before he was born. When I started my career, I had his father, Dave, and his uncle Lee on my cross country teams in the early 80s, and they were pretty good, very good runners. And we fast forward to 2002, and Anthony came out as a freshman for the track team. And right off the bat, he was a good 800 man. We've had a history of a good 800 men at East Liverpool, and that sort of runs in my family. I was an 800 runner. My brothers were 800 runners. My son was an 800 runner, and we loved the 800. My father, Bill, was so pleased. He's the driving force behind that track down there. And he loved watching Anthony run the 800. He says, man, that Duffield kid is tough. And he was. He was tough. And, as he grew older, he got better, obviously. He ran on some great relay teams we had back then. He was also a great individual runner, making all county, placing at the county meet, the OVAC runner-up. I'm not used to reading here, so I'm trying to read and say it off the top of my head. I think he ran an all-time best right around 2 minutes, which is a pretty good 800 time. And then his senior year in cross country, he was first team all-county, first team all-OVAC, qualified for the regional cross country meet, which is in Columbus. But the good part about that is the district meet was in Rio Grande, Ohio, which you can't get there from here. We had to go. We were the only team in Ohio that had to drive 2.5 hours through West Virginia to get to our meet. You know, and I'm sort of the history buff. I'm reading about the history. We're going to go to Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And some of you might remember that was the site of the tragic bridge collapse in 1969, the Silver Bridge. And there's a story, some of you might have seen the movie The Mothman Prophecies. And I'm not going to get into that, but they have a big statue of the Mothman right in downtown Point Pleasant. So we take the whole team down. We had a couple van loads. We get out, we take pictures next to the Mothman with the big glowing red eyes. We're getting back in the van, and Anthony says, "Coach, I ain't going over that bridge." "I'm not going over that bridge." I said, "Oh, I'll be quiet, you'll be fine." So he sat in a seat behind me with his arms around the seat like this, and I couldn't even lean back. And I didn't realize that was before, you know, Google Maps and everything. We didn't even have to go across it. I drive across and find out we didn't have to go across. We had to go across another bridge. So I had to turn around and go back over it. He was about inconsolable then. We got back across it. We made it to the meet all right. But that was one I won't forget. But Anthony's most impressive accomplishments in high school came on the wrestling mat. He was a 4-time OVAC placer, and that's probably one of the biggest wrestling tournaments in the United States, not alone West Virginia and Ohio. He wrestled at 105 and 112. He did most of his damage at 112. His junior year, he was the OVAC runner-up. He was also a 3-time state qualifier, and he finished up his senior year with an OVAC championship and a 3rd trip to the state meet in Columbus at The Ohio State University, where he finished in 5th place and got to stand on the podium with all the other great athletes in the state of Ohio. And he finished up his outstanding career in wrestling with 132 wins against only 29 losses against some of the toughest competition in Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. In 2012, Anthony joined the Army National Guard, serving this great country as a combat medic and a nurse and as a 1st lieutenant. He is still in the Army Reserve as well as a nurse at UPMC in Pittsburgh. He now resides in Cranberry, Pennsylvania with his fiancée, Angela Morelli, and their 4-year-old daughter, Olivia. And I am proud to present, as a member of the East Liverpool Hall of Fame class of 2016, East Liverpool graduate 2005, Anthony Duffield. These are yours. I guess that's your lifetime membership.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you, Coach Thornberry, for my introduction. When I was told that I was selected for this honor, the first person that came to mind was Coach Thornberry. Again, he coached my father, my uncle, my brother, and myself. So he was a great coach, great person, I have the utmost respect for him. I'm truly honored for this award. As you can see, I'm kind of shaking, sorry. As a child, I was always the smallest person, and I was always shy. It was my parents who got me involved in sports, and I'm thankful that they did. I remember playing football at Thompson Park for the North Stars. I remember running track for the Pegasus down here. My first love was football because I was always faster. No one could catch me. And then I was introduced to track. My dad kind of pushed me towards it, and I'm thankful he did. And then growing up, I loved the mile. And then all of a sudden, I found the 800 as I got older, and I hated running the mile and 2 mile. Coach always made me run the mile and 2 mile against Beaver Local and all the rival teams. He was always throwing me in certain events, 4x2 or something else. And then wrestling came into my life around 6 or 7, and I instantly loved it. The sport of wrestling is so unique. One-on-one. Your wins, your losses, your own. If you lose, you win. You can't blame it on yourself. I grew up watching people like Tim Sarge, Matt Salisbury, Josh Stansbury, Jeremy Cowan, Chris Green, Michael Jordan. I mean, that's just naming a few. I mean, I grew up in middle school watching these guys. These guys were my role models. I was surrounded by good wrestlers everywhere I looked. In middle school, that's when I began to shine. I continued to be an honor roll student, continued to strive to be a good wrestler. My 7th grade year, I think it was OVACs actually, and they were talking about this Grant Hopple kid. I didn't know anything about him. I didn't know anything about the Hopples. So I went out there and I pounced him like 16-1 or something. I tech faulted him. So I thought, man, wow, I might be good at this thing. So I just started, my freshman year, it continued to be a journey. I was lucky enough to start as a freshman on the mat. And I remember, again, we had a duel against Pure Local. It's when Jeremy Cowan was wrestling Jeremy Shaw, and Chris, I think, was wrestling one of the twins out there. I don't remember his name, and it was just a big rival. And again, I had to wrestle Luke Hopple. Again, I beat him 10-2. So never lost a hop in my life, I can say that. Sorry. That's the truth, by the way. And then, I always continued to get good grades. My parents were always on me about that. And my freshman year, I was state alternate. We were Division I that year, and we wrestled Maslin Perry. And I remember wrestling this kid. He was a senior at 103. I mean, he must have sucked so much weight. He looked like a little skeleton out there. He was 19 years old. He grabbed a hold of me. I thought, oh, man, wow. I could just tell he's just so much stronger than me. And you know what? He only beat me like 6'3", so. And then my sophomore, junior year, I continued to do well. My junior year, I was OVAC runner-up. I lost to Abby Rush from Willing Park, who actually beat me my 8th grade year at OVACs. And then my senior year, I won by tech fall. I wrestled a kid, Mike Lahode, who was a state qualifier. And I went out there. It snowed so bad at OVACs that, Saturday night was the big, and it actually got canceled. I think we come back on a Monday or Tuesday, and I came back, and I don't think he was ready or what, but I always remember watching Mike Lahode. Mike, he was a good wrestler, and some reason he just wasn't on his game, but I went out there and tech fought him. That was great. And then I went out and, continued sectionals, districts. I was kind of bummed I didn't win districts, and then my senior year, I took 5th, so that was a great honor for me. And then I went to Teal College, pursued my degree in physical therapy, but it was unsure. I went there for wrestling, I wasn't really focused on academics at the time, and I won my conference and didn't make it to the national championships. I was 5th, and then somehow God pushed me in a different way and pushed me towards nursing. I went to Kent State East Liverpool, got my ADN, became a nurse, and then soon after getting my degree, my daughter was born, and then wow, what a journey that was. She's a great kid. I'm excited to continue to be a nurse and father. I'm learning something new every day, both fields. Here I am babbling about myself, but the truth is, it's more about others. I want to say thank you to my loving fiance, Angela, my family, who's all here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Thank you to the committee for bringing me in. It's a true honor for me. I'm going to leave on this note. A couple weeks ago, I had drill, and I got pulled in the office. I call it the office, but his, standing at attention, I salute him. He's a full bird colonel. And, he goes, hey, LT, I'm first lieutenant. He goes, LT. I go, yes, sir. He goes, you're a good leader, but you need to be a great leader. I go, why, sir? He said, because you're going to do something special one day. I said, I sure hope so, sir. He goes, you are. He said, you're helping people every day. You're changing someone's life. I said, I know. Life it's challenging. It's difficult, but, there's obstacles in your way. There's always ways to overcome it. And it's about life is about being yourself and continue to pursue your dreams and accomplishments no matter what the obstacle is. It's a true honor. I'm thankful to receiving this award, and thank you, and God bless.
Okay, next if I could make one suggestion to the committee, though, as people get older, like, they don't see, like, this, you can't read when you're older. We need, like, great big letters. I'm having a real hard time. Sorry about that, so my apologies. Our next honoree, inductee, rather, is my dear friend Andrew Bobalik. And John and his father and Nikolai are going to be his presenters. So if you all come up.
You want me to talk first?
Good.
congratulations to all the inductees. I remember you running around that gym going crazy every day before basketball practice. All right, now I have a general topic sheet here, but I do a lot of ad-libbing. The first part of Andrew Babalik's career, I gave Andrew a lot of tough criticism, really like tough love. And he probably thought I was really on his hind end. He thought I was really picking on him. And but it reminded me of myself when I was playing basketball in Midland, and I had a real taskmaster as a coach by the name of Hank Kuzma. And he rode me and rode me and rode me and rode me and rode me. And I said, I'm not even that good. And I went home and complained to my dad. And my dad says, well, look, you better worry if they don't pick on you. If they don't talk to you, that's when you got to shrivel up because they don't care about you. So I hope Andrew took it that way. But as the years went on, Andrew was a 4-year letterman in basketball in East Liverpool. And he went probably through the toughest basketball schedule Liverpool ever had. I mean, we played top-notch teams, and we were a Division II enrollment all 20 years that I was here. But we played Division I ball. And our holiday tournaments were phenomenal, and I knew Andrew was something special. Andrew was came up as a freshman. A lot of competition at the guard position. A lot of competition because you had guys like Swagger and McFarland and Josh Reed and Jeremy Walker. Just great competition. Scott Scales. You just had some really top-notch competition. But I knew that Andrew was going to be my man for the last 2 years, his junior and senior year, because of the pecking order. But he was also a 4-year letterman, which is something special, especially to the schedule we went through. So Andrew just had a tremendous career. I don't know about the statistics and all that. I will mention one statistic, that'll be later on. But I really felt sorry for Andrew his senior year. He had he went on district championship teams, district runner-up his sophomore and junior year. But his senior year, he was the only one back that I had as a starter. We were devastated because we lost one of the best future postmen Liverpool would ever have in Lamorris Lohman. As a sophomore, he was phenomenal. But he transferred at the end of the end of the school year, and Andrew, he was the only other letterman besides Andrew. So we lost him. So Andrew was he was like in a shell. He was all by himself out there. And we had a grueling schedule. I mean, we played 11 teams that were eventually in the top 10 one time or another in the state. 11 teams on a 20-game schedule, So Andrew just took it. The leadership he showed was so great. It was unbelievable, and that's why I always said when I mentioned great guards that I coached, and I know because I followed Liverpool in the past too when I was coaching in Midland and playing ball in Midland, and I'm very good friends with Kenny Cunningham and Kenny Miller, and I knew that. Andrew was something special, and I put him in that same category as I do of all the great guards I ever coached. But getting back to that one game that he broke the school scoring record, 47 points against Cleveland East Tech, and Cleveland East Tech is that's not too shabby. The following year they went to the Final Four. That year they were district runners-up. And I needed every one of them points, right, Andrew? We needed every one of those points.
Still lost the game.
Yeah, that's it. But it wasn't like scoring. I know that record's been broken, but I'm not. But he scored against a really quality opponent. Not a Division III or IV ball club, but a real quality opponent. And I really think that that was a tremendous feat, individual feat. And his leadership qualities are tremendous. I remember his 8th grade, 7th grade team, he had like 40 consecutive victories with his junior high teams in the 7th grade. And I knew eventually he was going to be a great coach, and he's coaching right now outside of Columbus at Hebron High School. And he's just, he's everything that I expected him to mature into. He loves basketball. He eats, sleeps, and drinks basketball. He spends a lot of time on it, and I know he gets on his ball players like I used to get on you guys. But anyways, I'm very, very happy and honored to to put Andrew into the Hall of Fame. I really appreciate you, Andrew. Thank you so much.
One thing, I don't think you guys realize something here. I didn't think about it until I was sitting out here listening to everybody talk. And I've seen everybody here play, and I know when I was younger, I used to come and watch Dave play. A lot of people think I'm older than Dave, but that's not true. But one thing you might not remember about Danny Beatty, first year I was coaching at East Liverpool with Coach Dawson, Danny played for us, and contrary to what people think, he wasn't a very good player. But he could go in and take up some fouls, and he could go in and take up some fouls and that. And I think one thing, Danny may still hold the school record here for fouling out in a game the quickest. We were at Wintersville one night, and Danny fouled out in 3 minutes. He took all 5, and Mel Coleman looked over at Coach Dawson. He said, "Will you get him the hell out of here? We won't be able to finish the season." So anyway, but it's good to see you guys, and congratulations. And I got a few things to say about my son. Andrew's a firm believer in good things happen to good people. He truly expects respect from his players, and he gives it back to them in return. Basketball was a way of life for him. Nick got him started at an early age. We did a lot of traveling. A lot of them with his sister and his mother. There were a lot of 5 o'clock wake-up calls, pack up the van and travel to destinations all around the state of Ohio and Michigan, Indiana. And from a young age, Andrew worked very, very hard to becoming a gifted player. I can remember him being a ball boy for the Potters at the age of 6. I remember Nick and Gary Woods used to take him under their wings, take him on the trips, and he used to come home from trips telling us what he learned from Potter Pete. We're truly, truly, truly grateful to Pete for teaching our son some of the finest words not in Webster's dictionary. While his successes on the basketball court were many, small in comparison to what he's achieved in life. Being able to become a head basketball coach is something he strived for and attained. Under his leadership, his first head coaching job was at Harlan Christian, and I can remember him telling me he wanted to take that job, and I said, "Andrew, remember, you want to be a head coach, but don't get yourself stuck in a situation where you can't win." He said, "We can win." I said, "I don't know, Andrew." I said, "You're at a Christian school, not a lot of players." He said, "We can win." So he talked me into going with him. First year we went through some long bus rides. We won 4 games, lost 18 or 17. And I'm sitting there thinking on the last bus ride home from the tournament, I wish I could have talked some more sense into him. But he decided to come back and worked a little bit harder. And we were 18-5 his second year at Heartland. After that second season was over, he went after another dream of his. That was coaching at the college level. He became the head assistant at Wheeling Jesuit University, staying there for 2 years, heading the recruiting class, and was responsible for 4 of the players that were Jesuit last year when they were number 1 in the country in Division II. Realizing he wanted to get back into the high school ranks, he went back to look for a job. He's done a lot of interviews in a lot of places, and he ended up at Hebron-Lakewood High School just outside of Columbus. And he'll be starting his second year. He teaches at the middle school. He teaches health and coaches middle school golf. In closing, I'm a firm believer in what Andrew's told me for a long time. Good things happen to good people. And so it's with great pride, along with my wife and our family members that are here, that I present Andrew for induction to the East Liverpool High School Hall of Fame.
I want to thank Nick and my father for inducting me. It was a very, very hard decision, and one ultimately that I could not decide. Whenever I got the call, I immediately thought, and both of them were such huge impacts in my life and helped me be the man that I am today. And I'm glad that both of them were able to be here tonight. It really means a lot. Thank you. First off, I want to thank all the members of the committee for this great honor. It's very, very humbling. I'd also like to congratulate all the other inductees on such a prestigious honor as well. I've told a couple of them since hearing that there's not a doubt in my mind this is the best class that's ever been inducted so far. Not being biased or anything. All joking aside, it is very humbling, and I thank you guys for this tremendous honor. First, I actually want to talk about a couple people, everybody actually, that's in my class with me, starting with Anthony Duffield, because we graduated around the same time. And I remember being in high school and watching him wrestle growing up, and man, he was really, really good. And I remember going to some matches where we didn't really think we were going to win the match, but we were like, well, at least Anthony's going to win. We could really talk about it whenever that, and then maybe leave, or we always had it planned out. But he was very, very good. Dave Kyle is a dear, dear friend of mine, somebody that I have the utmost respect for, and somebody that I really, really look up to. Is very successful and has a great, loving family that I'm very close with. Christian is his son. Is presenting him tonight, and I actually coached him at the middle school level here. His birthday was this week, so happy birthday, Christian. I hope you had a great birthday. Mr. Grafton, unbelievable person. I remember going to games, and home or away, he was always there. Was definitely a diehard Potter. Mr. Chambers, full ride to Duke. I mean, that's unbelievable. I've been to Durham before. Awesome campus, great academics, very impressive. Mr. Pillar, 112, him and Anthony probably would have been a really good match. Perfect record, very, very impressive. Mr. Beatty, your father, I remember going to football games and him being there, and I've got to know you over the years, and I've always heard great things about your dad. Jennifer VanSickle, I remember being a little kid over at Potter Fieldhouse going to watch you play. Very respected family. And you guys should be very proud of your guys' accomplishments, and I'm happy that I'm with all of you guys in the same breath. First, I'd like to thank my teammates, coaches, and family, because without them, I wouldn't be here today. First off, my teammates. I had the luxury of playing with some really good players. It was a really good time for basketball in East Liverpool whenever I was here. They made me look a lot better than I really was. Josh Reed, Brian Creefer, Rose Kirby, Oompa Scales, just to name a few. It was tough at times because I didn't necessarily get as many shots as I would have liked playing with them. But I was always a team player and did whatever was best for the team. Next, I'd like to thank Coach Alloy. He turned me into the man that I am today. He's very, very hard on me, like he said. Some of the things he said to me, I remember thinking, like, man, I can't believe he just said that. And I definitely would not be here if it wasn't for him. I vividly remember my sophomore banquet and the great famous poem from Mrs. Hilliard. She always came up and did a poem, and in the poem she referenced me to Nick's whipping boy. But thank you so much, Coach, for everything that you did for me. I wouldn't be here without you. Thank you. Couple friends that I'd like to thank. Tommy Price actually came from Canton today to see me. Was one of my best friends in high school, was actually a teammate of mine. We actually, my sophomore year, we had 3 starters in our starting lineup, and we all lived less than 50 yards to each other. So it was almost our own neighborhood basketball team. Thanks a lot for coming, Tom. And also, George Davis is somebody else, a great teammate, or is a best friend. He actually coaches with me right now at the school that I'm at. I wouldn't be the player that I was without him as well, so thank you a lot, George. 2 other influences in my life that I want to talk about, unfortunately, are no longer with us, but helped me be the person that I am today, so I definitely wanted to talk about them. First, I want to talk about Potter Pete. Man, Potter Pete was like a second dad to me. Growing up, I met him at a very, very young age. I always went to games with my dad, and Potter Pete was always invited, and I remember just sitting there listening to stories like, man, I wonder what that word means, and I'd have to go ask my mom. I didn't want to ask in front of people. I became the ball boy for the high school, and our bond got even stronger. Andrew, do this. Andrew, do that. What the hell are you doing, Andrew? He's one of my favorite people in the entire world. It's probably the hardest I've ever cried in my entire life whenever he passed away. I remember I was going in to see him at East Liverpool Hospital whenever it happened. And I remember walking in, and his wife came out and said, Andrew, I'm sorry. And I said, sorry for what? And I just remember breaking down in the ER of East Liverpool Hospital. Anybody that knew Potter Pete, the reason I loved him so much was he always said what was on his mind, and he didn't care how it came out or anything about it. It was to the point. And Potter Pete, I wish he was here, and I know he'd be very, very proud, and he was the best. Also, I'd like to thank my grandma, who is no longer with us as well. She was also one of my best friends and most caring people that I've ever met in my entire life. I remember the phone calls that she would give to me on game days. Good luck, sweetie. I love you so much. For those of you that knew my grandmother, she was legally blind. She would go to every single game with her rosary beads, and my Aunt Mary would be her color commentator. She'd say, what's happening now? My Aunt Mary would tell her what was going on. What was it, Andrew? What did he do? Did he do anything wrong? So she was always concerned about me. I know if my grandmother would have been on this committee, I probably would have been the only inductee ever in high school to be inducted before he even graduated, but I never did anything wrong in my grandmother's eyes. I wish she was here to see this because I know she would be very, very proud, and I love and miss her very much. Next, I'd like to thank my family, my Uncle Steve and Aunt Mary, who are both here tonight. You guys both made huge sacrifices and made it to all my games, home or away. Living farther away, I know midweek, weekdays, it was tough for you guys to do that, but you guys were always there. My Uncle Steve also is a huge Oklahoma Sooner fan. I'm going to do everything that I could do. I'm almost done. I'm trying to wrap it up. Boomer Sooner tonight. I hope you guys win. My Aunt Janet and Uncle Lee, I can't remember a game that they ever missed. They would always carpool with my mom and dad. My sophomore year, my dad didn't always go because sometimes he was mad at me and didn't want to go, but they were always with at least my mom. Thank you guys so much for your support. Next is my sister Meredith. Sometimes she gets on my nerves a little bit, but I know she cares about me a lot, and she is a great person, and she does a very, very good job of being a teacher and what she does. Thank you, Meredith. Next, I'd like to thank my parents. First, my dad. He's been such a big influence in my life. He's the man who introduced me to the game of basketball. He had me in the gym since the day of birth. He was a basketball coach. He's always taken me to games growing up. I still talk him into going to games with me every once in a while. He has to ask my mom if he's allowed first, but he still goes sometimes. My dad and Uncle Steve and I haven't missed a state tournament since I can remember. These are memories that I will always remember and cherish. Thank you, Dad, for all that you do. I love you more than you'll ever know. Last but definitely not least, I saved the best for last. I'd like to thank my mom. She's such a huge part of my life. These last 2 years, I've moved away from the area. Our relationship has not skipped a beat. We talk about every day. She helped shape me into the man that I am today. I'm very blessed to have her in my life, and we have a very, very special bond. I can always count on her for everything. Thank you, Mom. You're the best, and I love you. Thanks again for this great honor, and go Potters.
All right, moving on for the class of 2016. Next honoree, inductee, is Dave Kyle, and his son Christian is going to be his presenter. So, Christian.
There's one word that comes to mind when I think of Dave Kyle: drive. Whether he's driving to the hoop, driving his excavator to the job, or driving a foot up my ass whenever I needed it. And I needed it. Seriously though, he has more drive than anyone I've ever met, and it's a big reason why he's one of the best basketball players to come through here, along with the many other great ones that have come through this high school. Growing up, I always knew my dad was a great player, but what was so impressive to me was that I never really heard it from him. I heard it from his friends, people that went to high school with him, or people that just knew him from playing basketball. And you could tell it was something special for them to still be talking about it today, because, let's be honest, it was 40 years ago. That always made me so proud, but what I'm most proud about is that basketball not only brought my dad here tonight to the Hall of Fame, but it brought together a bond, a father-son bond that will last forever. He was able to take the game he loved and pass it on to my sisters and I. And through that, it started a relationship between us that I wish every father and son could experience. In the game of basketball, it is important to work as a team. It is important to put hours of hard work in, to always become better than you were the day before, to never back down from an opponent, and it is always important to have a goal to work towards. My father has transferred that same work ethic and way of thinking into his career, both teaching and landscaping, his family, and to his everyday life, and I respect him for it more and more every day. But what I respect him for the most is his decision making. He's made many great decisions over the years, and his best was when he decided to marry my beautiful mother, Kathy Kyle. He could have decided to spend his time doing whatever he wanted, but instead, he chose to spend his time with our family. He never put himself before us, and he always did what was best for all of us over the years. And that is something to be proud of, Dad. All of these qualities are what it takes to not only become a successful basketball player, but a successful person, and it is clear he learned that from a young age. My father has always been there to support my family and I with anything we do, so I'd like to thank the committee for allowing us to support him tonight. I'm proud of you, Dave Kyle. I'm proud of the person you are. I'm proud of the basketball career you had, and most importantly, I'm proud to be your son. The class of 1972, Dave Kyle.
Wow, Christian, that was good. He called me several weeks ago. He goes to school in Florida. He said, Dad, you aren't going to believe the class I just signed up for. I said, what is it? He said, online public speaking. It's paying off. That was good. Did I hear Andy say go Sooners? That was nice, though, sitting here listening to Andy. I could have listened to them all night. In fact, I thought we were going to have to. Just kidding. I'm kidding. Oh, several weeks ago, I started these messages. Congratulations on HOF. You're in the HOF club. Good job, HOF. I thought, HOF? What's HOF? And it hit me. I'm in the hair off forehead club. All kidding aside, I was very surprised. I was very honored for the nomination and the induction. And I'd like to thank the following people. I'd like to congratulate my fellow inductees. I'd like to thank the committee for all their hours of work. I'd like to personally thank Jeff Creeper and his family for all their hard work. I thank my former teammates, my classmates that are here tonight, all of my friends, and especially my family. The word obsession is defined in the dictionary as a state in which someone thinks about something constantly or frequently in a way that is not normal. I became obsessive about basketball at a very young age. And as far as obsession goes, it was a good obsession. My obsession started with the church leg at the Y and continued from there. If you remember Mrs. Popejoy, that was the tough secretary at the Y, bless her heart. She saw me in the lobby one day, and I was 23 years old. She said, "Kyle, what are you doing now?" I said, "I just graduated from Youngstown State." She said, "You have a degree?" I said, "Yeah, I do." She said, "You and Earl Diddle, how the hell did you ever do it?" Well, I couldn't have, that was a surprise to her that I had a degree, and if she could see me now, she would probably be very surprised about me being in the Hall of Fame, too. There are three people that are responsible, really, for me being here tonight as my career went at East Liverpool High School, and that was Dave Burcham, the sports writer. I tried to find Dave to invite him here tonight, and I lost the trail at South Carolina. I think Dave's in South Carolina now. I used to see him when I lived in the Youngstown area. He worked for the Vindicator and the Warren Tribune, and Dave's a member of the Curbstone Hall of Coaches, or Hall of Fame at Youngstown, so Dave couldn't be with us tonight. The second guy was Mitch Gillum. Mitch came to East Liverpool in 1969 to be the head basketball coach. He replaced Clint McConnell. And at that point in my life, the obsession ramped up. Mitch got a hold of me and he taught me how to shoot a basketball. He taught me how to break down a defense. We didn't work so much on defense myself. My defensive play reminded me a lot of what Fred Taylor, the longtime Ohio State coach, said about his player Bobby Knight. He said, "I'm sure glad Bobby can coach defense, because he sure couldn't play it." Well, Mitch left here after my junior year, and he went on to be one of the winningest coaches in the state of Ohio. I don't know if you realize this, but there's over 800 high schools in the state of Ohio. And mostly all have basketball coaches. So there's been hundreds and hundreds of basketball coaches. And Mitch ranks 52nd as the all-time winningest coach in the state of Ohio. Mitch Gillum left East Liverpool in 1971 and went on to win 488 basketball games at Lorraine Admiral King, which amounted to about 74% of his games. In case you're interested, the winningest coach in the state of Ohio is a man called Richard Quartercracks from Calida. He coached for 54 years and won 877 basketball games. We have a big winner here tonight, too. He's on the all-time list, Coach Eloy. He's on that list. And the third person I'd like to thank is here tonight. He was my point guard my senior year, and he was a sophomore. And he's what a point guard should be. He's the type of point guard I don't see anymore when I watch these young kids play. He was a true point guard that actually liked to pass a basketball and create opportunities for people to score. He was generous. He could see the floor. He was a great ball handler, a great passer. And what made him a great player himself was his ability to make his teammates better. And you could do that, Mark. Thank you. In closing, I'd like to thank everybody that's here to support the inductees tonight. And also add that I had the opportunity to play in probably the best gym in the state of Ohio, that field house. Wow. It doesn't get any better than that. And it looks as good now as it did in 1972. The administration, the custodians, you take good care of that place. I go into gyms and they need painted and they're dingy and dirty, and you're a player in East Liverpool, you get to play at the field house, and that's a privilege. Hey, it's a great honor to be here tonight. I'll never forget this evening. It means a lot to me and my family. Go Potters.
We have one more inductee, but before I go in there for, probably a lot of you have done public speaking. I was sitting there thinking about this as I've gone, watched, Jason and the students are all doing a marvelous job. But you may not realize it, but there are monitors around the entire room here. This will be broadcast on YouTube. I believe it will probably be the Hall of Fame banquet or something awards. Jason Croxwell's group is going to put it on the Hall of Fame, put the whole Hall of Fame dinner on YouTube. So, please check it out. My cousin Tom from Italy can check it out now. This will be great. However, it is really unnerving to sit up back here or right here, right now, and look at myself as I speak or as the other people speak, making sure I don't do anything really stupid, and looking up and seeing the inductee, myself, and Andrew Babalik. This is what I've seen the entire. Have you noticed that?
I have.
And I'm watching like, oh, don't do anything stupid here, so you've been pretty good. You haven't done anything bad, hopefully neither have I. Anyway, our final inductee is, of course, Dan Grafton, who's, an institution in East Liverpool. His presenter is going to be his grandson, I believe, Matthew, and Marcy, correct, will be accepting on his behalf. So, Matthew, there you go.
Thank you, guys. I am going to try to keep this brief. Being knowing him, he'd want to get home to see Ohio State game as well. I've never met a better man in my life than my grandfather. And he just loved kids, not only his own, his grandkids, but all the athletes that came through the high school. Him and his wife were great supporters, and I can't talk about him without talking about her. They were partners for I think it was 54 years. Since he got out of the Army, they were married, had 2 children, my mother and her brother Craig, who left this earth, I think it was 1997. From the time my uncle played to the time I played football, and to my uncle's kids who played football, he was always there. Never missed a game. It's just getting a little emotional here, I'm sorry. They were just great people. They were active members of the Blue and White Touchdown Club for many years, and also the Rebound Club. He and his wife worked various events, hot dog sales, tag days, and for some reason I always got dragged to him as well when I was young. He organized many bus trips, and especially helped the less fortunate who couldn't go to the further games that were further away. And I always on those trips as well, even when I didn't want to go. For over 50 years, he and his wife rarely missed any games, and that is a feat that I don't think anyone could hardly ever accomplish. For their fanship, I guess you want to call it that, they were awarded the Pete Copeland Spirit Award in 1991, and he was honored to be the Grand Marshal when I believe it was the 1999 East Liverpool Potter Football Parade. I know he would be very honored if he was here today to be standing up with all these inductees, and even to be mentioned with all the former inductees as well. In closing, I would just like to say, on his behalf, on my mother's behalf, on my brother's behalf, and my extended family's behalf, I'd like to thank the committee for selecting him. I know he would be truly honored, and may God bless you all.
First, I would like to congratulate all the inductees. My dad passed away a little over a year and a half ago, and he would have been just ecstatic and honored and humbled to be, considered to be, inducted into the East Liverpool Hall of Fame. He enjoyed, he loved sports. He enjoyed going to the games. All the kids that played, he felt like, they were all his kids. He talked about them, and him and my mom just truly, truly enjoyed being a Potter. And, I just want to, thank the committee and everyone that knew him, and thank you for making this day possible. Thank you.
Anything else we need to? Anything else we need? Okay, I do want to announce that the plaques are now on display at the Potter Field House. As you guys know, most of you who know me know that I bleed Potter blue and white. My great-grandmother graduated from East Liverpool High School in 1888. My wife graduated here, my mom, my dad, my grandparents, my son, my sister, and it's a great honor for me to be here. Thanks to all of you for coming. Congratulations to all the inductees. I'm so fortunate to have known every one of them, and my sincere congratulations to all of you. And finally, all I can say is thanks again, and go Potters. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. You did a great job.
Steve, your name's